Hey, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. I want to send double honors to the apostles and the elders, the great millstone. I want to send much peace, love, and salutations to you. I'm out there pushing the word of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, in sincerity and truth. Brother Ariala. And I just wanted to do this. We talked about this in class Saturday, but I want to kind of just break it off and talk about it in the World War III algorithm. Trade wars and World War III, because we read this from Grok. Grok is an AI that's on Twitter X. And I typed in, how can trade war lead to real war? And it has some interesting ways of, how trade wars can create tensions between different countries and lead to an escalation of real war. And right now, we see Trump making big moves in the global economy as far as utilizing tariffs to try to rebalance the trade deficit. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit, read through this, and show you in the prophecies that this is all a part of kingdoms and how this is all a part of how the Most High makes his algorithm go, how these different things culminate into the war of Armageddon, okay? Now, I want to start with this video here.
Let's move on to tariffs then, never-ending story. And today Donald Trump signed an order imposing sweeping reciprocal tariffs on every country that charges duties on U.S. imports. And in this case, Canada was not the primary target. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief, Joy Malvin, is here with us now. Joy, how's this going to work?
Sandy, President Donald Trump has been hyping this as the big one, promising to use his economic sledgehammer, reciprocal tariffs on countries around the world. If they charge us, Trump says, America will charge them. Now, he's ordered his advisors to calculate these new tit-for-tat tariffs and customize them country by country. And he'll also take into account a nation's quote-unquote behavior. The tariffs will be on pause until April. Here's what Trump said.
It's the most beautiful. And I'll tell you what, I think really reciprocal tariffs, those two words, reciprocal makes tariffs really fair.
Okay, Joy, who will this hurt?
Sandy, look, first, Trump feels cheated. He says the U.S. is being ripped off, and let's not forget he needs tariffs to raise revenue to pay for those massive tax cuts that he has promised all Americans. It's part of his negotiating. He predicted a flood of jobs will come back to America, even though economists warn over and over and over again that tariffs will drive inflation up. It's already spiking here, and consumers, we will pay more. He was asked about that, too.
I think what's going to go up is jobs are going to go up and prices could go up somewhat.
So you see that Trump is going to do these reciprocal tariffs, meaning, right now what's happened is that the United States is running massive trade deficits with other nations. And so we talked about this in class. Since the time of World War II, the United States would buy more goods than they would sell more goods. So the United States is importing more than they're exporting, and that's what's called a trade deficit. So the United States consumers are buying hundreds of billions of dollars more out in the markets than they're selling out in the markets, or even artificially so that it's more viable for these other nations. United States goods are taxed more. So it's more expensive to buy, period. So when you look out, you see these massive trade deficits, just immense trade deficits. So Trump is like, okay, what's up with that? We need to fix that. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, hold on one second. I got a video from Patrick Ben David. I'm going to pull it up. He's talking about it. Hold on. All right, here we go. Play this.
Here's what the trade deficit of U.S. with all the other countries worldwide is. If each referral equaled $1 billion, our trade deficit is $1.1 trillion against the rest of the world. We've given the rest of the world $1.1 trillion of business more than they've given us. What the hell are we doing in America? Guess what country in the world has the highest trade surplus, who has taken more referrals than anybody else in the world? It's China. Do you know how much more? 823 billion more than they've given to everybody else. You know what China is saying? Keep taking the money, keep taking money, and boom, oh shit, this guy got elected. His name is Trump. This guy's problematic. He doesn't like this stuff. What do we do? Release a virus, do this, let's shut down the entire world so this guy doesn't get reelected. Oh my God, thank God all these other guys show up. What do we do with these guys now? That's the whole concept of tariffs, trade surplus, trade deficit, and why it's becoming a topic of discussion where Mark Cuban is reacting to it.
Okay, so all of these things is happening, and so I was wanting to see what the AI would say about how this relates to other nations, because what you'll see is when these tariffs hit, it's going to force these other nations to basically have to go at it on their own. They have to go on their own, all right, and deal with their stuff independently. And we see that in the scripture when you read Isaiah 47 and 15, and it says, "And all your friends, those whom you have done business since childhood, will go their own ways, turning a deaf ears to your city." So America's going to kind of get left hanging during that time, you know. But what we've seen before that is America just gain power and spread itself through the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and these different trade deals, and basically get everybody hooked onto the United States dollar. And that's why, you know, we hear people talk about, oh, you know, the BRICS nations are going to come and they're going to create their own currency and they're de-dollarizing. That's cap. That's kind of cap. Are they doing some bilateral trades outside of the dollar? Yes. But they don't want their currencies to go up too much against the dollar because it makes their goods not viable in the market. It makes their goods more expensive in the market. And they're still on the hook by the U.S. dollar. And they don't have the resources or the liquidity. They're not liquid enough to go out there and try to fight the dollar like that. All right. So it says this in Habakkuk 2:5. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay? So everybody's has taken on, you know, this man's economy. They've taken on the petrodollar deals. You know, they've advanced themselves in a global trade system that leads to the U.S. dollar being at an advantage. Okay. And so when you read about these tariffs, it's shaking everything up. All right. So go to Gronk. It says, how can trade war lead to real war? It says trade wars can escalate to real wars through several mechanisms. 1, economic hardship. The trade restrictions can lead to economic downturns, unemployment, and public dissatisfaction. Governments might use military action as a distraction or to rally nationalistic support to maintain power or shift public focus from domestic issues. All right, so you go out and you try to conquer something because you're losing at home domestically. That's what can happen when you're having a trade war, because it's cutting off certain markets. So if this market now, the prices go up to buy these certain goods and people are not buying it, right? Well, they're losing revenue. If they lose revenue, what do? They fire people. They get rid of people. Because now nobody's buying this particular good or service from this market, from this place in this market. They're buying it from somewhere else because it's cheaper. All right, so that having these type of trade conflicts can take people in and out of the market, businesses in and out of the market dramatically, and cause economic downturns, which piss the people off, which could lead to military action. All right, now, we heard this in that first video where it talks about tit for tat. That's what That's what Trump is doing. He's doing a tit for tat, right? Tit for tat escalation. Initially, countries might engage in economic retaliation like tariffs or embargoes, right? If these measures escalate, nations might feel compelled to demonstrate resolve or strength, potentially leading to military posturing or incidents. Okay? So you know these things things being walled off here, and so now a nation is bucking up, like a Pakistan versus an India or something like that. You can see these type of things. Now, I'm gonna play this because you see, Trump is very stout. You know what I mean? He talks very, very, very proud. Listen to him.
Mr. President, in the past you have spoken against BRICS. India is part of BRICS. Do you want to dismantle BRICS?
You see a lot of clickbait with people talking about BRICS.
So you want to? US want to be part?
I don't care, but BRICS was put there for a bad purpose, and most of those people don't want it. They don't even want to talk about it now. They're afraid to talk about it because I told them if they want to play games with the dollar, then they're going to be hit with a 100% tariff the day they mention that they want to do it, and they will come back and say, we beg you not to do this. BRICS is dead since I mentioned that. BRICS died the minute I mentioned that.
Because you have to realize that the United States buys so much from these nations, man. The United States is pushing a lot of the market's industries. And so if they decide to put a tariff on their goods and the United States not buying it anymore, they're losing billions and billions of dollars. Okay? And these nations can't take that hit.
And I remember when Obama and Biden in particular, I guess he said that, they have us over a barrel. They don't have us over a barrel. We have them over a barrel. If BRICS wants to play games, those countries won't trade with us. We won't trade with them. And if any trading gets through, it'll be 100% tariff at least.
On your
What would be
cabinet,
You know what? When they hear that, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to say, look what happened to BRICS. They didn't want to talk about it. They don't even want to admit that they were a member of BRICS. That's what's happened.
So, you see these economic conflicts, and it can escalate, Number 3 says strategic calculations. In a climate of hostility, misunderstandings or misinterpretations of actions can occur. For instance, one country might interpret military exercises or troop movements as preparation for an attack, leading to a preemptive strike or defensive measures that spiral out of control. We see that happening all the time off the coast of Florida with Russia. 4, alliances and dependencies. Countries often have alliances or strategic dependencies. If one nation is economically strangled, its allies might feel compelled to intervene either diplomatically or militarily, broadening the conflict. And we see a lot of these entanglements and dependencies in Europe. So if Trump is doing these across the board reciprocal tariffs, it could cause a lot of economic harm to allies, economic allies in Europe and around the world, man. People, right now they had a tournament. They had a hockey tournament where it was the United States, Canada, Finland, and somebody else. And basically, when the American national anthem was playing, the other nations were booing. They didn't do that to the other nations' anthems. They just did it to America's. Now, in one particular case, the U.S. had a game with Finland. They booed the national anthem. The U.S. goes on to beat them. The second game, Canada boos the national anthem. The first 9 seconds of the game, there was 3 fights where the U.S. players just threw their gloves off and they just started throwing hands. Trying to defend the nation. People they're not messing with America like that, man. So we're going to see more and more of these tensions escalate. That's why, they're going to have a taunting proverb against this place. Okay? But still, these nations are tied to America. That's why Trump can flex tariffs on Canada, because we buy all that stuff. And Trump would be like, well, we won't buy your stuff, man. We don't need to buy your stuff. Now get the border correct. You too, Mexico. Come here. Come on. Stop playing. Okay? So they've swallowed down these nations, right? They spoiled these nations. Okay? And that's how more and more tensions can escalate as this stuff begins to build up, right? 5, resource control. Trade wars might start over control of vital resources like oil, minerals, or agricultural products. If negotiations fail, countries might resort to military means to secure these resources or prevent their adversaries from gaining them, right? And so, if particular goods and not being able to be crossed into certain borders can strangle a nation out, and then what happens when that goes down? Well, they're gonna fight for it, like it talks about in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. They're gonna fight for it, man. You know, we're already seeing those type of tensions, those type of tumults. Okay. So like we said in class, a famine it's not just blasting and bad weather that can cause a famine. It could be caused by trucks not being able to move, boats not being able to get through particular locations that cause a squeeze on supply. Okay. 2nd Ezra 16 and 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. People are going to be fighting. All right? Okay? That's all I want to read on that, really. Where am I at? What am I at? I wanted to get one more. Oh, yeah, this right here. I'm going to play this. Oh, no, that's not it. Oh. Yeah. Play this real quick.
Here is some of the key data on US trade. In 2023, some $3.8 trillion worth of goods were imported into the United States. Mexico, China, and Canada, the 3 countries President Trump is imposing harsh tariffs on, accounted for around 40% of those goods. On the face of it, tariffs are about tackling trade deficits, with the US importing more goods than it's been exporting. The deficit with some of its key partners has been widening, though. In November 24, it operated at a deficit of $5 billion with Canada, $15.3 billion with Mexico, and a massive $24.9 billion with China. Well, earlier I spoke to...
And those are just the top 3. This is worldwide. This is worldwide. Where basically the United States is propping up a lot of these economies by consuming their goods and basically, getting them paid. That's why when America goes down, the whole world is going. When Babylon goes down, the whole thing's going to drop. Okay. Everybody ain't gonna be no new this next economy coming up. No, that all of those economies are going to crash. When America crashes, they crash. They're all sucking off the teat of American consumerism. All of them.
To the acclaimed economist Mohamed El-Arian, president of Queen's College, Cambridge, and formerly chair of President Obama's Global Development Council. And I began by asking him what outcomes he thinks President Trump is aiming for.
And that goes for the Islamic nations too, the oil-based nations. How do you think everybody's buying the oil? The oil is based off of the demand for oil. Who creates the most of the demand for oil in the world? The United States. The United States consumerism keeps the demand for oil ridiculously high. This is how Saudi Arabia and all these other nations get rich from selling their oil. If the United States goes down, that production is slashed, and the profits in Saudi Arabia are slashed. Okay? The whole world would be a worldwide crash. And the cost for creating a barrel of oil would plummet. I mean, would be more than the cost to buy the oil. Okay?
I think he wants multiple outcomes. That's why he loves the concept so much. First, he wants to use it as a tool to get other countries to do what he wants them to do.
Right.
Secondly, he thinks of it as a tool to raise lots of revenue. And thirdly, he thinks of it as a tool to promote domestic companies.
So if we break them down a little bit, let's just take domestic manufacturing, for example, and encouraging global companies to relocate production to the US. That could take years.
It could, but it will start a process that will bear fruit for the US for years.
Yeah, so now if you have all these companies that, like a Nike or Apple that move their company to a China because it's cheaper and they move back. Well, if you have several companies doing that out of, all these different countries they might have gone, that's ruining that country's economy. Okay? That's going to create more and more anger towards America.
As well. It also will encourage domestic industries that are already there. It will give them an advantage over imports by making imports either more expensive or less profitable for other countries to send to the US.
But it is a big political risk, isn't it?
I think the problem with this whole thing is that in the short term, it will work.
Right.
The US is relatively strong, both cyclically and structurally. So other countries can resist, but they will not resist for long. The challenge is over the longer term, this is going to encourage other countries to reduce their interactions with the US.
And then we enter this threat of a global trade war.
That's the worry. I think what we really are looking at is a fragmentation of the global system. We're looking at more blocks around the world.
And as it fragments, what's going to be instituted is going to be considered a sovereign MOTB system. But it's not going to be sovereign. It's actually just going to be the elites, the mega tech corporations around the world already going to have a prepared new way of transacting and moving money and goods and services. It's all problem, reaction, solution. Okay? But this is a piece of the puzzle for major conflicts that can happen in the future. Like it talks about in, let me get that, Revelation 11. Revelation 11 and 14. Oh, let's see. It says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay? These things must needs be done, man. So these trade war conflicts that lead to national dissent between problems between these nations, it makes sense. All right? This is number 6 on that list of how can trade wars lead to real war. It says, national pride and honor, economic battles can stir nationalistic fervor. Governments, feeling their sovereignty or national honor is at stake, might be more inclined to take aggressive action to assert dominance or defend national interests. Okay. 7, breakdown of diplomatic channels. Prolonged economic conflicts can erode diplomatic relations, making peaceful resolution harder. Without effective communication, small incidents can escalate rapidly when there's no trust or dialogue. This is what we read about when we get to Revelation 17, right? Revelation 17:16, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. When we talk about this beast, we're talking about this whole new New Age Roman system. And the whore that rideth upon the beast, Babylon, mystery Babylon the Great, that's America. And those 10 horns are kings that got power with the beast. Okay? So it says that these 10 horns were going to hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Well, initially these 10 horns were in league with the whore. But they're going to break that agreement. All right? They're going to break that agreement because of what? Dissension here, this, and that. All right? For the Most High have put in their minds to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. Right? See? Also, we mentioned Obadiah where it talks about those that are confederate. All right? With Edom. We're going to bring Edom even to the border and make Edom desolate. They're going to fight one another. Okay? They're going to battle with one another. This is what they do. This is what they do. Okay? So you go back. As a matter of fact, what I want to pull is, let's go back. Where did I get that at? I got that here. Let me get Job. Job 20. I wonder what this says in the NLT. We'll grab this in the NLT, see what it says. Come on now, computer. Job 20 and 22 says, in the midst of plenty, they will run into trouble and be overcome by misery. See? So when they're about to try to switch things over, say, oh, we want to make fair trade, do reciprocal tariffs, disrupt the global economic system, then reintroduce a solution with a new digital MOTB system, trouble is going to come. It says 23, may the Most High give them a belly full of trouble. The Most High may the Most High rain down his anger upon them. When they try to escape an iron weapon, a bronze-tipped arrow will pierce them. That's when they're going to go into full destruction. Okay? They're going to go into full destruction, man. When they think that they're going to get satisfied, they're going to try to get this MOTB system. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And then all the global economies are going to be hurt by it, bro. Destroyed. Wiped out. Okay? At the end of this, it says, historical examples include the prelude to World War II. So this is a historical example of trade war leading to actual war. It says, where economic sanctions and trade embargoes against Japan contributed to tensions leading to the attack on Pearl Harbor, or the economic blockade of post-World War I of Germany post-World War I, which played a role in the volatile political environment leading up to the next war. That's what, you go and listen to a lot of Hitler's speeches. He was going in on all that. While trade wars do not inevitably lead to real wars, the combination of economic pressure, nationalistic sentiments, strategic missteps, and the breakdown of international relations can create a pathway from economic conflict to military confrontation. And that's why Trump is the man that we want in there, because he's moving this thing quickly. But just to show you how much these nations are going to be sad and be destroyed, in Revelation 18, verse 9, it talks about a lamentation for Babylon, right? We know this ain't talking about ancient Babylon because ancient Babylon was already destroyed at this point. This is talking about mystery Babylon the Great, which is America. Right? Verse 9, it says, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her their merchandise anymore. See, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. You see? Who's the number one person that's going out and buying the merchandise of the nations? Making sure that the global economy is well oiled and cooking. It's America. All right? It says the merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, of pearls, fine linen, purple and silk and scarlet and dining wood, and all manner of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels of most precious wood, and of brass, and iron, and marble, and cinnamon, and odor, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things that were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. So everything's going to be shut down. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. See? Okay? So when America goes down, when this global economy is wrecked by trade wars and it leads into World War III, Armageddon, all of these nations are going to lament and wail, and because they're all going to go bankrupt. And it's going to take the real nation of Israel to rise up, restart everything, get everything rekindled, man. Okay? So there ain't gonna be no new economy that rises up. There ain't gonna be no new currency from another nation that's gonna become the reserve currency for the world. No. It's gonna be MOTB or bust, and it's gonna bust for sure. So, I just wanted to go back over that because we in class. We was kind of going all over the place. I want to kind of condense it into just a singular kind of side, a long lesson. But Lord willing, that was edifying. With that, I'm saying, Call Halal Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors once again to the apostles and the elders and bishops of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to Yakim out there, pushing the word of Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, sincerely and true. Shalom.